All right, thanks, Drake. Sorry, I got your name right this time. But welcome, everybody. Exciting week. Another episode of Bedlam, and as it's become here in a lot of the years that I know that I've been here, it's a game with a lot of important things riding on it. So that's what makes it more fun. There's no question about it. These rivalry games are always great, but when you got two good football teams that are going at it with a lot at stake, makes it even better. So excited about the opportunity to get down to Stillwater, play an outstanding Oklahoma State team, playing at a high level. Their coaches have done a phenomenal job with these guys. A lot of guys returning that have improved and are really playing at a high level. They've been a really consistent club the majority of the year, especially the back half here. So we know it'll be a big challenge. We're excited for it. Should be a great game Saturday night. Excited about the way, again, that kind of we responded, and I think really built some momentum last week. I think you could feel that with the guys this week, so it's just kind of how you start to begin the season. This is kind of how you draw it out. Kind of what you hope would happen. That a game like this would have so much riding on it, and it is because both teams have had tremendous seasons. So should be a lot of fun.
How do you prepare your guys for just that stadium with how close the fans are, the short sidelines and things like that? Is that something you have to talk to them about or prepare them for?
We've talked a little bit about it in the past. I mean, we give them a quick overview of every stadium that we play in, and surface and kind of all of that. So it's discussed, but I mean, I don't honestly feel like that the size of it is that much of a factor. I mean, you get down there and you walk around pregame and the sidelines are tight and all that. But once you get in the game, I mean, it's a good atmosphere and it's a tough place to play. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that how narrow it is really affects the game much. So we make them aware, but it's kind of like the old Hoosiers deal, right? And still measure it out. Tape measure's still going to be the same.
What does make it such a tough place to play then?
I would say for us, I mean, it's a rivalry game that you go play on the road. I mean, this is different than, different in a lot of ways than OU Texas, where that's this one being a home and home, and you get to play one at home, but then you go play one on the road, and obviously we know their fans, crowd, all that will be geared up for it, like they have been every time that we've been there, and like our crowd is when they come here. So I mean, it's a little bit different atmosphere there, but it's a great stadium. Fans are into it, students are into it. It's a fun place to play.
Lincoln, obviously a lot goes into rivalry games, regardless of the circumstances with the teams. With the success that your team's had, both short-term and long-term in this series, does that help going into this? And can it be a double-edged sword just sort of psychologically with your guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just is what you make of it. I mean, I think we can take a confidence that we've, prepared well and been able to play well in this game historically. But the flip side of that is if we think that alone is going to allow this team to do that, then we'll be mistaken. You've got a lot of respect for this opponent, and you've got to prepare at a high level. You got to play at a high level. You got to do it in a road venue. You have to handle all that well. Past teams have been able to do it, but this team's got to go do it, and we've got to prepare that way. We've got to play that way on Saturday. As far as like how much time we spend on it, talk about it, honestly, not a whole lot. Try to keep it more about here and now, because ultimately that's what's going to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Eric Bailey?
Lincoln, in a game like this, points will come in premium. I want to ask you about your special teams, your kickers. Gabe Burkett, he's struggling a little bit now. What do you do to just kind of work him through this? He's had so much success in the past. And then also Michael Turk, just his ability to flip field. We saw that on Saturday. Just talk about your kickers in this game. Yeah,
Gabe would be great. I mean, no other kicker I'd rather go into a game like this with. So, I mean, that's when you do that for a living, you're going to miss some every now and then. And he's made his share, and he'll make them on Saturday night. Michael's been great for us. It's really got this back half of the season. I think it's really settled in and hit the ball at a high level. Our coverage teams have done a good job. Where our net punt has been pretty solid, and that's been important. We obviously had a bunch of big ones there the other day. So, no, it is. You're right. The special teams always show up, and in this game, it always seems like there's a couple of big special teams plays. I know historically that's been the case for a lot of these games. And so, certainly when two high-quality teams go at it, a lot of times it can be a differentiating factor.
Bill? Lincoln, you said Saturday after the game that there were times you noticed you could have done more to help Caleb or help the offense. Has that been an adjustment for you this season, finding out like what his strengths are at this point and how much he can still handle?
I think we're both still in the, like we're kind of feeling each other out right now, period. We've had some games where we've played we and he have just played lights out. We've had some games where we have been good at times and not good at times. I think, again, as you go through these different experiences, you're learning. I mean, for him, I mean, he's just now hitting kind of the halfway point of his first season, and you're playing kind of a run here of fairly experienced defenses. This one may be I don't know, I'm trying to think all the years, I don't know if I've ever played a more experienced or senior heavy defense than the one that we'll play Saturday night. And so, but we're learning. And honestly, even with varying degrees of results, whether we've played great and scored a bunch of points or we've just played okay and scored a few points, I think he would echo the same thing. We can see the progress and we can see why our starting connect, and results will continue to come more consistently as that happens. But it's he's doing a lot of good. I'm learning more and more kind of his rhythm, his ways, kind of what he likes, what he doesn't like as you get into these new situations. And so we'll continue to be better for each other.
Jesse Crittenden.
Hey, Lincoln. Obviously, this game on Saturday is kind of unique because Oklahoma State's already made it to the Big 12 title game, and you guys got to play to get in. If you win, you play them again next weekend for the Big 12 title game. Just how conscious are you of that from a game plan standpoint, and just how unique of a situation is this in this rivalry?
The potential is unique, but I mean it's on us to win. So I approach this like every other one. I mean even when we've had games before in the regular season where we've already clinched it. We've been in that position and knowing we're going to the Big 12 title game, and you don't hold back. I mean we don't get 50 of these things. We don't get 60 of these things. You only get so many. So and even if the roles were flipped and we were clinched and they had to beat us to get in, I don't think I would do one thing different.
John Hoover.
So are there any, to kind of piggyback on that question, are there any, I think I know the answer, but maybe you could walk me through it, mental logistics that goes into, there's a game at 11 a.m. kicking off ahead of yours. You want guys to watch it, you don't want guys to watch it, because that'll obviously have an outcome on what you guys do, depending on if you win or lose. If Baylor loses, you get to go no matter what you do.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll pay a whole lot of attention to it. I mean, will we look at a score? Yeah, probably so. But I think the thing, we just got to deal in the controllables and deal with what we know right now. What we know is if we win the game, then, we're where we want to be. And so I think that's the most important thing. I mean, listen, no matter what happens with that other game, our expectation level is to play well and to win the football game, like any other game. And so, and we would be disappointed if that did not happen, regardless of what happens in the Baylor game. So, again, our goal, the goal right now, it's not like everybody's walking around saying the goal is, man, let's just make it to the championship game. It's not. I don't know if I've even said that one time to the team this week. I don't know if I've even heard one player say that. I mean, it's just. Let's go play well. Let's go win a football game Saturday night at 6:30, and that's where the focus needs to be.
Gary?
Yeah, Lincoln, against this defense, what do you need most out of Caleb Saturday night? Do you need mistake-free? Do you need him to produce big plays, the kind he's shown? What do you need most out of him?
I'll take all the above. That would all be good. Yeah, I mean they're a very good defense. I think the thing I would say for him is I think we need just a big stack of routine plays out of him, and they certainly don't make that easy. But the more routine plays that he can make, then I think the big ones from him and from other players on our offense will come that way. And honestly, when he's done that, when we've done that as an offense, we've played pretty well. And again, that routine play can be described a lot of ways, whether it's a run, whether it's a down the field throw. I mean, whatever it is, we need to be steady and go execute and not make a lot of mistakes, because you're playing a group, again, like I referenced, that has so many starts, that has so much experience. You turn it on film, and one of the reasons they've played very well defensively, they don't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, there's just not a lot of, you watch the tape, and there's not a lot of just gimmies where they busted and just gave the offense something. You just don't see that much, and they're experienced, they're well coached, and I mean, it's kind of what you would expect. So we need to play the same way. We don't need to give them any gimmies, any big negative plays, and I think if we do that, we'll have a chance to make our fair share.
You've gone into this game 6 straight years with the guy who became the All-Big 12 quarterback. What kind of confidence do you have in your quarterback this year in terms of relative to the rest of the quarterbacks? Like, I have no idea who might be the All-Big 12 quarterback this year. I got no clue. If you do, give me a name. But your advantage at quarterback has been pronounced over the years against most teams you played. How is that different this year with a young guy who's only played 4 or 5 games?
I still have a lot of confidence in him, because I mean, when he and then we as an offense around him have played at a high level, we've had a stretch of games, a set of games since he's been the starter where we've played just as high level as we've ever played. And now, have we had some bouts of inconsistency? We have, but again, my confidence comes from the progress that he's making, that I see on Saturdays and behind the scenes. And then my confidence comes from, I think, some of the times when we have not been good. It's not just us getting our butt kicked. Typically it's been kind of within our control, and things that we can do, should do better, whether it's a coach, whether it's a player, whether it's Caleb, whether it's another player on the offense, whatever. I just see it as very controllable, and that's a good feeling, because that you can get it fixed. You can do it at a high level, and when we've done it, there's been fantastic results, both for him and the whole group.
Aaron?
Back to the experience gap, Lincoln, Caleb, the last 2 weeks against Baylor and Iowa State, and of course what he's facing Saturday. Is it such that you say, look, don't overthink this, because this is a complex deal for anyone to solve. You're still, I think he's still a teenager. I think.
Yeah.
Just go play. Whether it's like you did at the Cotton Bowl or against 6 touchdown game, whatever it was going through your mind, free and easy, whatever it was that day. Be that guy again. Don't you go there in this matchup, or is that overthinking? Caleb's overthinking.
Yeah, I think I can piece that together. No, you're good. You're good. I certainly get where you're coming from. I don't know that. Is there times in some of these games, even the games that he's played too well, where he's overthought? Yeah, possibly. I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to Barry's question of, what do you need to play well in this game? And again, I think the thing we need from him is just to be consistent, to be steady, and just to make the routine play. He's going to, just by nature of his skill set and the way he plays, he's going to always make a few spectacular plays. I mean, that's just that he just kind of built that way. You're going to have a handful of those, no matter what. And so the steadier, the more consistent he can become and play, then I think the more consistent as an offense it will play. You don't play behind the chains. You get drives off to a good start. I mean, kind of all that goes into playing really good ball, and then your explosives come from that. So that's kind of the focus with him. Again, it's also new. He's learning. I mean, he's taking it in. So I don't know that in a sense it's overthinking. I think in a sense he's just I'm just kind of watching him grow. I'm watching him learn and watching him go through these different experiences. And each time he comes out of it knowing a little bit more, learning a little bit more. How would I handle this if it comes up again? Next time I get in a situation, next time I see this defense, or next time this happens on this play. And every one of them is invaluable. It's just kind of it builds confidence, and it's kind of just building a library inside of him that where he understands it and knows how to react and doesn't have to think. So he's just progressing. He's learning. But the flip side of that is I do expect him to play very well. I mean, and he's given me a lot of reason to expect that right now.
With a learning curve, for someone as gifted as he is, frustration sets in, especially if you haven't experienced this kind of thing before. Are you having to take extra time with him to assure that he's not crossing the line in terms of just being
Yeah, and I think that's just part of learning. That's just part of being in some of these different unique situations. I mean, you look at, a lot of our guys have been able to go through that at different times. I mean, Spencer had moments of that last year, especially in the first half of the year. I mean, go look at the success level of, Baker and Kyler's first year in college. I know it wasn't here, but I mean, it wasn't what it became. And so this guy's, he's learning like those guys did. He's learning on the fly. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you understand what it is. I think you try to put him in the best position. You let him keep growing. And again, what's on everybody's mind is, the last couple of games, we've been hit and miss offensively. Everybody forgets, we've had a lot of moments with this offense, especially the back half of the year, where we've lit people up, and we have that ability. We have that capability. And so that's what we're focused on, because when we have, and nothing spectacular, but when he have played very in control, we've played confident, we've played more mistake-free, we've been a good offense, and we'll need to do that Saturday.
Yeah, Coach, what do you think about what Spencer Sanders has done at Oklahoma State, and what do you see as perhaps different about him now versus maybe last year or maybe the year before?
Yeah, he's really doing a nice job. He's improved. He's improved a lot through the years. I mean, it's kind of like playing some of these quarterbacks that we played, multi-time or several times over a multi-year period in this league. Historically, you see him play as a young guy, and then you see him, I think probably making a few less mistakes. He's always been a tremendous athlete. I mean, everybody's known that, but he's obviously running well and a factor with his legs. And then, and I do think he's really improved in the throw game. Not that he was bad before, but he's certainly done some nice things this year. So now they've done a good job with him. He's growing and learning. I'm sure going through that's gone through a little bit of that same process that we just talked about in depth.
Okay, Jenny?
To follow up on that, Sanders did not play just 2 years ago against you guys. He was hurt. Last year he got hurt, so he played sparingly. This looks like the first time he's at least coming into the game healthy. Do you, and I'm curious, you talked about his running ability with their run game, which has become such a focus for them. That's a look you've not seen from him, a healthy Spencer Sanders in that run game. What's the challenge of trying to slow that down along with Jalen Warren and whatever a running back will put back there?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an added element that you have to defend. And we have been prepared to defend it the last few years, and obviously, like I said, he got hurt in the one last year, didn't play in the one 2 years ago, but he's a tremendous athlete. We got a lot of respect for him. They do a great job with their scheme of using him and making him a factor in the run game, even if he's not always carrying the ball. So I mean, you've got to respect it. You've got to do a great job defending it. Now, that being said, I mean, over the past several years, we've played several athletic guys, and so I mean, I think it's a challenge that I think what the challenge is. You just got to go do it well, and typically when your quarterback's a good athlete, it makes you accountable on all levels of the defense, and it does change the game in a lot of ways.
James?
Lincoln, you played two really good defenses the last 2 weeks. This may be the best one. I think it'd be fun to hear you as the OC trying to design something for them. What you see in Oklahoma State, what are you running into Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it's one of the more experienced defenses that, man, I can remember coaching against maybe in my entire career. I mean, it's got to be top 5 as far as the most experienced defenses. I mean, you look down the depth chart, it's senior, 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 senior. I think occasionally there's a junior in there, but not very often. And what they've done, they've played at a high level this year. They've played very consistent. The front's done a good job, creating pressure on quarterbacks. They've obviously had a lot of tackles for loss, sacks, all that. And they've really played, pretty clean football. Haven't given up a lot of big plays, hadn't had a lot of penalties, hadn't had a lot of busts, and so they've made people, when people have moved the ball or scored points, people have had to earn it, and that's what really good defenses do, and they've done it. They've like I said, they've been able to it's just been a very consistent group. They've stayed very healthy. A lot of same guys same scheme, and they've added their wrinkles like everybody does. But no, it's a good group top to bottom, and doesn't have, it's as you watch them, you don't just see a ton of weaknesses on tape. Like they don't have an area where you just point to and say, man, that area is just killing them. They've got good playmakers at all levels.
Justin Martinez.
I just want to ask you about Kennedy Brooks, who had a really good game last week after, I think, first 100-yard rushing game since Kansas, especially with Oklahoma State being so good against the run. Just what's it going to take for him to have a strong performance, and how big would that be for you guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, when he's played good, we've played pretty good, and no, it'll be important. He's had some good games in the past against these guys, and have been key to some victories before. And we know this year's a new year, new challenge. But no, he and our run game are obviously a big part of what we do. They obviously help with the young quarterback. I mean, they there's nothing like being able to run the football at a high level on the road. And so, no, it's important every single week. Yeah, and like you said, against a group like this that's been good defensively against the run, that'll be probably one of the keys to the game.
Ryan Chapman.
Hey, Lincoln, after the game, you said Caleb was trying to be really patient and maybe it prevented him from pulling it and running a few times. Has he been a guy, just as you've gone through film review, that can make those adjustments very quickly from Saturday to Saturday? Or is it a situation where maybe you put in some more plays that running's an option for him much sooner as he goes through his progressions to kind of get that going for you guys, that another dimension?
Not very capable. I mean, I think it's just, again, feel for the game, feel for how you're being defended, feel for what you got to do in given moments to move the football and keep us marching down the field. So his capability mentally, physically is not an issue really anywhere.
Mason Young.
Lincoln, Mike Gundy said yesterday he feels like potentially down the road it would be hard to keep Bedlam together just because of the business side of college football. You and also Joe and Joe seemed more optimistic back in August. Do you still kind of feel that optimism, especially given all the scheduling challenges and everything that presents down the road? Yeah,
I would say I do. I mean, I don't think, at least not saying we're right, wrong, but I would say our perspective, my perspective hasn't changed, not in any. I mean, it's a lot of teams that end up at some point in different conferences and still play a rival. So again, we all know lots changing in college football. Nobody can sit up here with a crystal ball and know for sure. But I would say from our perspective, nothing's changed.
Okay, can't tell if that's Shannon back left.
Hi. So you talk about a lot this experienced defense and how it's one of the most experienced defenses you've ever seen. The past two games you've been very run reliant, and we haven't seen a lot through the air. With this defense being so good against the run, do we expect to see Caleb throwing the ball more?
I mean, I want us to throw it well. I can't, and really not that I'm trying to keep anything from an opponent. You never know exactly how a game's going to play out. You just call the game as it evolves, and so I think the biggest thing for us is when we do throw it, we want to be more polished, more efficient, throw it to our capabilities. And I think if we do that, then we'll have a chance to be productive, and it'll obviously help us as an offense.
Army.
Been times where the offensive line's done a pretty good job protecting. Caleb couldn't find receivers. Is that more him not seeing guys, or receivers not getting open? Just how important they're going to be for you this week to throw the ball better to wide out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes all. I mean, when we go back and look at some of our struggles in the throw game here the last few weeks, or times when we have not thrown it as well, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, it's kind of like it sometimes is when it's not going good. We just hadn't quite timed it out as much, where all three levels, the protection, the quarterback, and the wideout, have all been good enough or at a high enough level on each play. Again, we're playing there's a lot of positive things in the throw game, and it feels like, just the opportunities for some of the big plays that have been, agonizingly close here the last few weeks. There's easily 400, 500 yards worth of big plays that were all of them just inches away. But that's this game, and that's this game against good competition. So, wideouts are going to have to be sharp. Quarterback's going to have to be sharp. Game plan's going to have to be sharp. Protection's going to have to be sharp. You do that, you're going to have a chance to make some plays.
Yeah, in the committee's eyes, you've been sort of penalized for the way you played and maybe who you played, looks like maybe that's all out the window starting Saturday night. If you win this game, it looks like to me, nobody's going to care how you win it or anything else. You like where you're at, or you like the possibility that it's set up for getting back to the playoffs?
Absolutely. And I have for a long time this year. I've always felt that way. It's, we can't forget the past. We've been through this so much, and if you win, things can take care of themselves. People are going to lose games. People are going to fold down in the month of November. I mean, it happens every single year. All these people, these teams that everybody thought, oh, there's no doubt they're going to do this, going to do that, and it always happens this way. And so you just keep winning. I told our team even before last week that the opportunity in front of our team is probably even bigger than what they think it is right now. However, each one of them, before we went and played that game against Iowa State, would define. If I went and asked each player, what do you think the opportunity in front of this team is right now? Whatever their answer would have been, I thought it's probably bigger. I mean, it's really there, and so you just got to go play. You just got to go win. You got to keep improving as a team. And like I said, the good thing for us is we've got a very strong history of doing that. We've got a lot of guys, people in this program that have been a part of that. So I think there's a calmness and a confidence that, don't listen to the outside world. Trust if you just win, all that junk will take care of itself. And so we've done that. We've put ourselves in position. Now we got to go win this one.
James?
Lincoln, you had to play your depth in the offensive line in the last game. Where are you at in that? How's your offensive line looking going into this game?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have everybody available, but I thought a couple of guys that came in, Conjal, did a really nice job. I thought Eric Swenson came in, did a really nice job like he typically does. So it was good to be able to play a few different guys. I think it helped us, refreshes those guys a little bit. And those guys have been practicing well enough that we've been wanting to play them. So it was good to get them in, and they both responded well. And I think we'll have those guys as options along with everybody else this week.
Eric Bailey?
Kind of just a follow-up to that. So Andrew Green, right now, injury status?
Yeah, I would say he's expected to play.
And then DJ Graham?
Questionable right now, but I would say questionable. Yeah, we'll see how the week progresses.
You mentioned special teams. Can you sort of describe what happened on the fake punt Saturday? Where you guys, was it a bust? Did you just not see it coming? Or?
Yeah, it was a bad decision by me. I mean, in that situation, sometimes you get caught in these moments where you want to give yourself an opportunity for return, especially when you get a stop back there in the negative part of the field. We did have one player that busted that would have had an opportunity to make or stall out the play. But yeah, that's kind of the game you play, and sometimes it's kind of the cat and mouse game of, is somebody going to really attempt this backed up like that? And in that situation, they did, and they had a better call than we did.
Is there anything to, you're backed up, the season's backed up to playing the three best defenses statistically ranked that you will have played all year. Is there anything to the fact that maybe Oklahoma State's defensive ranking puts them above the others, but you've been building up to where they're at? In other words, Baylor, physical branded defense, Iowa State, physical branded defense. Now you guys are kind of prepared maybe for this?
Yeah, I think we're certainly, us being prepared for it, I think won't be a hindrance. We get to practice against a really good defense, every day, all spring, all camp. We've played other good defensive teams, and now we've and everybody's a little unique schematically, and these guys are too, but we've been able to expose ourselves to a few different things now. I think we're as set up as we're going to be. We just got to go do it.
Quick follow-up. Caleb, are you worried about eye candy that he could be seeing that he needs to not trust his eyes because Jim Knowles is so good at disguising things?
He does a good job. He tests quarterbacks. He tests every quarterback on how committed they are, and typically that's what good defenses do, and typically good quarterbacks respond by not taking the bait, not taking the cheese. Stay focused on executing your offense, doing your job, and that's what he needs to do.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you all.